Welcome to Mr. Holloway's Foundational Java Skill Series. In this video, we're going to talk about looping through an array with a for each loop. Now, before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And class is now in session. All right, so in the previous video, we talked about looping through an array, where we just took a traditional for loop and we looped through the array to print out all the values. This video, we're going to talk about looping through an array with a for each loop. All right, so first off, I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to put it down at the bottom, and I'll just put a separator here with a system.out.println statement, because what we're going to do up here is going to be different from down here. So this is actually going to be a for each loop. All right, so I'm going to do a for each, also known as an enhanced for loop. So I'm going to just do this. All right, so let's look at the similarities between the differences and the similarities. So a for each loop is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to loop through a bunch of numbers or strings, or basically a collection or an array. So it does the same thing, except they're structured a little bit differently. The for each loop is much more streamlined, and so there's two parts to it. So we're going to just take this part. So first we have to declare a variable. This could be X. I like to do them in where it makes English or syntactical sense, so that when I read it back to myself, I can understand what's happening. So you'll see in a second. So the first part is we declare a variable where we're going to store each item. And then here we're going to put the item that we want to loop through, which is going to be my array. And then here we simply do something very similar here. Actually, I'm going to just take this and copy this. All right. But if we use this, this is not going to give us our results. So what I want to do, instead of saying my array X, what I want to do here is I want to print the item. Okay. Because what we're doing is every time this loops through, this becomes the item, and then this becomes the item, and then this becomes the item. And so now with a for loop or for each loop, we don't need the initiator, right? We don't need the condition, and we don't need the updater. We don't need any of that. We only need these two things. So when we print, you're going to see the exact same thing happen here as happens here. And we got an error because I did not put my semicolon here. All right, so let's go ahead and run this again. And again, spacing in Java doesn't matter. This spacing doesn't really matter. All right, so this was the first for loop, which was the enhanced for loop. This output was the traditional for loop. And that's pretty much it. So you can use either or. These are more streamlined, and there are cases where you want to use a for each loop or a for loop. But for demonstration purposes, these are the differences, and they basically do the same thing. All right, I will see you in the next video. Class is now dismissed, but before you leave, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.